And live. I got Ted here with me. It's time to talk 49er football and, all kinds of other situations. Um, well, I'm sure you see something new in the background here.
Indeed. Montana. Sweet.
It's pretty awesome. I need to find a spot for the Frank Gore. So I don't know. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with that yet, but I'll find something.
There you go. Looks great.
I mean, there we go. That's a little bit better. But yeah, so we had a game. We played against the Saints. We won. Yeah. It seems like, did any of the important players other than Purdy even get in the game?
Not really.
I mean, you saw the crew was on the sideline in street clothes, Kittle, Debo. I think Bosa, I think Aaron Banks was even out with like a broken pinky or something,
Was that Banks or Burford?
Well, Burford I thought he had a broken hand.
Okay.
And then Banks has a broken pinky or something kind of, something I just rub some dirt on and get back in there myself. But, that's just me.
Just like you did, was it 2-3 weeks ago? It wasn't even a pinky. It was a much more important finger. It was like your middle finger, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually my index on my left.
Pointer finger, even more important.
I mean, this thing, it's almost there, It was smashed pretty good, though, folks. It was bad.
Nasty.
But, yeah. And, as of right now, it seems like, I mean, we didn't see McCaffrey. We obviously, they're being precautious with his calf. We play on Friday, though, Ted.
7 p.m. Pacific, so 8 for you, huh?
Yeah. And it should be prime time televised. If it's not, I have NFL Plus, and there's another one, right? But at this point, it's like, can we see some starters other than Purdy? And on defense, I got to see there was Jair Brown was in there, right?
Yep.
But there wasn't the most of the team that's actually going to be on the field. It's like, where are you at?
I think I saw Devondre Campbell, or was that the first game?
He actually looked pretty good during this game.
I've been bullish on Devondre Campbell this whole time.
And I haven't been very high on him myself. I kind of like these guys we drafted, like D. Winters and Jalen Graham, D. Winters, he needs some work. He's young, though. He does need some work, But it's almost like he can play Sam and, kind of work his way into the lineup. We're not going to have Greenlaw till at least mid-season, if not later, So we're going to see a lot of Campbell and Winters here, folks. When it comes down to the linebackers, though, who do you think is going to make the squad? Keep in mind, we do have one more game left here, right?
I think the really interesting one to watch after this last game is Curtis Robinson, who I never really thought much of, but he really seems to be showing out here in preseason.
And, so isn't DFF like someone's roommate, like Fred Warner's roommate or something?
Well, Fred Warner's workout buddy in the offseason. He's a buddy. There's a list of buddy roster spots on the Niners. I think we may have talked about this before. There's 3 folks. DFF works out with Fred Warner all offseason, buddy. Trent Taylor and Kittle, buddy. And then Nick Zakel was Brock Purdy's roommate. Probably not anymore now that Brock got married. He probably has his wife for his roommate now, but buddy. So we got 3 buddies. Although I guess Nick Zakel's been doing decent in preseason too, playing a little bit of center.
He hasn't looked bad at center at all. And that always makes me wonder, like, Jake Brindle, yeah, he's a veteran, but this is the last year he's under contract with us. So it's kind of like a big question of, are we going to keep him moving forward? He's 31. He's not getting any younger here. So it's almost like, they're playing Zakel, and it makes me wonder if they're going to play him during the season too, like kind of mix him in there to start prepping him for next year.
Wouldn't shock me, but I would say the way the 49ers do things, it seems like they always err on the side of caution. So I wouldn't expect to see a lot of Zakel unless Brendel gets injured. Jake Brendel, our incumbent center.
And Jake Brindle, I'm not necessarily a huge fan. He's okay. He's average. You can't say he's bad. You can't say he's good, right? You can say he's average. So at this point, I would like to see someone above average at center. And Feliciano is nursing a knee. It's honestly looking like the right side, Pooney, is going to be our starting right guard. Although, I mean, watching him on the field, he looks plenty big enough to play offensive tackle.
I think it's not the size, it's the arm length that people are concerned about. But, yeah, Pooney's look good. I just urge a little caution. I've seen some content creators saying people messed up in the draft, and it looks kind of like that from preseason, but let's see him do it in the regular season against starters, all starters, let's just say, before we crown him. I never crown anybody in preseason. And so I think it's a little too early to say, like, oh, the league messed up by not drafting Pooney earlier. It looks like that, but I need to see more before I'm going to say something like that. Real quick, just want to call Grant Schick in the audience. He's a good buddy of mine, one of my groomsmen in my wedding, former soccer player from Santa Clara U, great guy. And he is in the audience, and so is Gina from Sports Laugh and Chill. Gina V.
Gina's in the audience.
Yeah.
She got to go to the Saints game.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Lovely Miss Gina. She's outstanding. Everybody make sure you check out Sports Laugh and Show. Give them a like and a subscribe and a watch.
Yeah, we have quite a few people in the chat here.
Well, yeah, just those two.
Daniel,
those two I know well, so I had to call them out. I know them in real life. So
starts off with Daniel Berry. Go check him out, folks. He does a lot of shorts. We got Jimmy in the building.
Better now that you're here,
Jason.
Jim. Thanks for being here.
Jason, I'd say the guy with the best hat in the league, in the Niner Empire, but he gave one to TJ. So, TJ got promoted to first mate. You don't have to swab the decks anymore. We got Steve-O in the building. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Steve-O?
Tommy Huxley with his, typical hello.
Yep.
Uh-oh. He says, Ted, bring back the hat.
I never wore hats. I always wear visors, which somebody said there too.
Steve-O. That's what Steve-O pointed out.
Tommy says add visor. Add it back, I guess. I might do it for the regular season, but I've been kind of protesting this offseason. No jerseys. I mean, I got the one, over here hanging at Birdie. I got a new Kittle that I like as well. But I'm not going to fanboy out until we win a Super Bowl, honestly, at this point. I wanted to be a little more subdued and less homerish, at least in my dress. And I like to think I was never that much of a homer with my analysis, but nonetheless, probably won't see any visors or jerseys at least until the season, and maybe not, farther than that.
I'm kind of picky about the players I get jerseys of. You can see the one right here, Joe Montana. I got Frank Gore, one of the greatest running backs in 49er history, if not the greatest running back in 49er history. And
the Craig guy.
Jerseys I have, right? Like Kittle's been with us long enough to the point where I would buy his jersey. Out of all the players that are currently on the team, that's about it. The rest of the guys got to put some more years in.
Yeah, make them earn it. Make them earn it. I like that.
That's exactly it. Well, we got Damian Lee in the chat. He's in enemy territory, folks. He's in Cowboys country. It's kind of funny because they can't talk smack to him. They got no right to. We got the Sentinel in the building. What's up, buddy? Did Brock lose his mojo? I don't think that's it at all. I think that's how long has it been since he played a football game? You might have some butterflies you need to get out.
There's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure and not many top-tier weapons to throw to.
Yeah, our offensive line did not look very good. They were getting beat up.
Other than Pooney.
Yeah. Pooney was he owned it. And honestly, how did Burford get the starting job? Do you remember? I'm sure you do.
Somebody get injured?
Brunskill. Brunskill got injured. That's how Burford got his starting job. Now Burford has a broken hand, and I mean, with all the offensive linemen we have right now, it's kind of like, will he actually make the team? Jess is in the house. What's good? East Coast Red and Gold. They go live in approximately an hour and 15 minutes, folks. You should check them out.
Always good stuff. Good to see you, Jess.
But, so Jalen Moore has gotten pretty much all of the reps almost at left tackle, right? I think we saw Hubbard mixed in there. I thought I saw Parker come in late. These are the two veteran signings in the offseason. But it's mainly been McKivitz and Moore. And, no big Trent yet. Hopefully they get something done because, getting him in the practice field would definitely benefit right now. Aaron Banks. Now, I'm actually going to look up Aaron Banks real fast. But so we saw a lot of Jared Kingston, though. Like a lot of Kingston and Zakel at center. Kingston didn't look too bad. He's late round pick. You can't have high expectations. He does have some things to work on, but he's a young offensive lineman, right?
Yeah, and he's a lot like Pooney in the fact that he's a little bit better pass blocker than he is a run blocker.
Yep.
And, he could be Pooney light. We'll see.
He did play some extensive time at left guard there, which, honestly makes me think that he's going to make the team. If he doesn't, if they cut him, he probably played well enough to get picked up by another team to, be a backup. But other than that, there's not much to report on the offensive line, folks. Pooney looked good. Zakel put in some work. But beyond that, I mean, who do you have making the roster? We get Trent Williams signed. Yeah, he's starter. We got Aaron Banks. He's starter. Jake Brendel, which, it looks like he's going to be the starter. Then we got, Pooney, say, at right guard, and McKivitz. There's a starting five, right? Who's the backup's going to be?
Well, hopefully Feliciano, but he just had surgery, so that's a concern. Knee surgery.
He just had surgery. What's that? Another 4 weeks at least?
At least.
Okay. And, so then you got a guy like Kingston. He played a lot. You got Zakel. He played a lot, right? We have the two veterans, Hubbard and Parker, but then we have Jalen Moore. So there's kind of a battle going on for backup tackle right now.
Swing tackle, if you will.
Yes. And that's something Jalen Moore's played. Parker has a lot of starting experience, and so does Hubbard. So, swing tackles should be interesting, right? But, at this point, it's really up in the air on who's going to make the team when it comes to the backups. Well, we kind of know who the starting five is. I wouldn't be surprised if Pooney does start at right guard just because Burford and Feliciano are both, injured, right? But say you put Feliciano, the fifth man, right? Zakel, the sixth man. Then you got Kingston, the backup guard. Are we keeping 9 offensive linemen?
I think we usually keep 8.
And that's 8 right there. So this does not include Burford, Jalen Moore, Hubbard, Parker. So there's quite a competition going on there. So, the 53-man roster gets cut down. When's that going to happen? Like 29th or is it the 30th?
I'm not familiar on the dates this year. I haven't been paying attention. My apologies. I know the final cuts usually come just a few days before the season starts, usually early September. Real quick, Grant was asking who will lead the league in passing mid-season and end of season.
Ooh, it's going to be August 27th. That's the final cut down this year.
Yeah, late August, early September. So that's coming right up. That's Tuesday.
That will be the day before our next show. So that works out, don't it?
Yeah, sure does. How do I know? Because my wife's birthday is Sunday. 25th.
That's actually a good question. Who's going to lead the league in passing? That's a good question. I mean, you got guys like Mahomes and Josh Allen. I don't see him doing it. I don't see Mahomes doing it either. Not with the receiving core he has.
Nope.
A lot of times it's some guy that's had to play from behind a lot and throw the ball a lot.
Yep. I'm thinking some of the younger guys, like C.J. Stroud, like Jordan Love, maybe Jared Goff for the Lions. Could be Brock, but it's hard for any 49er quarterback to lead the league in passing when we run the ball so much and so effectively. So such a high percentage of the time. You have less attempts. And so many of the passes are short ones to CMC as well. So I'm kind of like, if I could take 2, and I don't know if it's going to be mid or late season, I'm kind of going CJ Stroud, Jordan Love.
And that could be the case. I'm honestly thinking like it could be Tua, just because they could be having to come from behind a lot.
It's not Huck Tua. Sorry, I had to go there. I'm so sick of that whole thing. So apologies to everybody for bringing it up.
I know the chick said it as a joke, like on a guy's video where they're out at night asking all kinds of people in the club area of the city questions.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of how'd that blow up, right?
It sure did. Wow. I guess I could see Tua just because it's Mike McDaniel calling the plays. Another one I was going to mention, kind of along the lines of what you were talking about having to score a lot because their defense can't stop a lot of people. Well, who just lost Aaron Donald this year? The Rams. And so Matt Stafford might be forced to throw the ball a lot more than they would normally want to win games. And obviously the Rams have no shortage of weapons on that team right now with Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, some solid tight ends, Higbee being the leader. But really, it's the running backs that I think they may have the best running back tandem in the league with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, who I think very highly of coming out of Michigan. He was very dependable for them in the clutch whenever they needed a big play. It seemed like it was not always him who came up with it, but a lot of the damn time it was Blake freaking Corum. And so that's a concern for me as a Niner fan. And I could see a lot of passing yards to Nacua and Cooper Kupp if Cooper Kupp can stay healthy.
I could see Matthew Stafford doing it. I mean, why not, right?
And they revamped that O-line too. So he'll have, I'm not going to say plenty of time, but more time maybe than anyone else in the NFC West to back there.
And I do honestly expect them to take a step back, the Rams defense, because Aaron Donald does a lot. You know, he commands double and triple teams. It frees up the rest of the defensive linemen. Now they're not going to have that.
The only way I see the Rams defense not taking a step back, I would say there's 3 names to watch for me on the Rams D. That are 2 are boomerang retreads. John Johnson, who's their safety, who went to the Browns and now is back. Darius Williams, who went to the Jags. He's a corner and he's back. He's real good. And then they drafted some edge player. I forget the guy's name, but he's supposed to be pretty damn good too for rookie, who knows. But I think if those 3 guys all really show up, that could take a lot of the sting out of losing Aaron Donald. But they probably need all 3.
They get, what was that guy's name? Blake Fisk or something like that from Notre Dame too.
Sounds about right, but I'm blanking on it right this second. So
don't forget to pop to both channels and hit the like button for us, folks. We appreciate you for showing up.
Here, Papa J says he thinks Bo Nix might be up there. Again, preseason heroes don't always translate to the regular season. I mean, he won the starting job, so that's good. First week 1 starter in Denver since John Elway, so that's good for Denver, for Sean Payton and some buddies who live out that way.
There we go. 49er Media brought it up. Blake Fisher, that's right.
Blake Fisher. Okay.
So when it comes to Bo Nix, though, Sean Payton, he likes to throw the ball around. That's a possibility. I mean, if he leads the league in yardage, he's probably going to lead the league in interceptions too, because he is a rookie.
Fair. I would just say this to whoever is about to go to Vegas and drop money on Bo Nix leading the league in passing yards. Who's he throwing to? Real quick, name me a top.
Cameron Sutton?
Is he still there? And is he even a real weapon? He's a big guy.
I think that's all they got.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big bodied receiver, but there's not much speed there or nothing really explosive about him. But I mean, I know, they lost what's his bucket, the route runner, who everybody liked in Brendan Ayuk's class. He was drafted ahead of Ayuk. Not CeeDee Lamb, who's with the Cowboys, who's turned out really well. But he was from Alabama, I want to say. Jerry Jeudy. He's gone. Not that, honestly, that's probably addition by subtraction. Jerry Jeudy leaves, you probably fill that slot with somebody better, without too much difficulty. But yeah, so anybody betting on Bo Nix, tell me who he's throwing to. Just off the top of your head, don't Google anybody. And then also, how's that O-line looking? Because I know they had an injury to their big left tackle last year. I don't know much about the rest of their line. I don't feel like it was. Oh, we know one spot on the O-line that's not real good. That's big old Mike McGlinchey. So I would hold off on unless you're getting really good odds on putting any money on Bo Nix.
Well, that's true. They're kind of they're in like a full rebuild right now. And so Ted, we talked about the offensive line. What do you think about running backs, buddy? Like with CMC, running back 1, no questions, right?
Elijah Mitchell is back at practice, so that's good news. I think it's JP Mason is running back 2, hands down, 0 doubts. He's our running back 2. And maybe Mitchell 3 if he can stay healthy, but when does he ever stay healthy? And then
I honestly look at Mitchell like, personally, I would rather have, CMC, Jordan Mason, Matt Breida the Cheetah. He looked like he's never been out of the offense this last preseason game.
I don't want Breida.
and Cody Schrader.
Schrader. I want Schrader. He led the SEC
This
in
leaves
rushing.
Garindo, though. This kind of leaves Garindo.
Garindo is going to be an injury red shirt. That's my prediction.
That's where I'm at with that. We're supposed to see him Friday, though, aren't we? That was reports.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I want to see the young guys. Breida, I like the speed of Breida, obviously the cheetah, all that. Love it. But just, he always had those nagging high ankle sprains, and he's just not a very big guy. And I would just rather see somebody who's more durable, straight up, especially when you got Elijah Mitchell, who's already an injury risk. I don't want two running backs who I'm basically expecting to get injured without many carries. No thanks. I liked Breida. I loved that one play. It was against the Browns where he had like the 90-yard or 80-yard touchdown. It was brilliant. That was when Bosa did the flag plant on Baker. No, let's not confuse Breida and Mostert. Mostert was a quality back. Breida, he wasn't. He was okay. We were lucky to get whatever we got, a fifth or whatever we got from the Dolphins for him. And just like we were lucky to get a fifth for Jeff Wilson, we traded him to the Dolphins. I kind of hope Breida doesn't make it. I kind of hope we go with one or two of the youngsters instead.
We didn't even run Jordan Mason this last game. Did you know that? He didn't even have a carry. I watched the whole game and I didn't notice. It's
because he was like so huge in the first game. He's probably still tired from that first game against the Titans. Man, he was a workhorse. But maybe he just solidified his spot.
I got someone knocking on my door. I'll be right back.
Okay, I can handle it. So, Anshul down at the bottom of the chat says Mason was hurt. Well, that explains it. Geez, another injury to the running backs. That's a bummer. Anshul says he's fine with Breida on the practice squad. Yeah, I don't want to see him on the 53 personally. Interested to see if Garindo gets any returns on Friday. Yeah, a lot of people thought Garindo might be for this new kick return system. So we'll see what's going on there. Papa J says, I don't follow Denver. I just think he's going to do great. He just like he did in college. Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix was good. He had a long, successful college career, and I'm wishing him well. I just always am a little careful with preseason hype. Anshul says Cody Schrader's looked awful. I mean, he's not real fast, so that's an issue for sure. Jason Captain Niner Smash Massey says that he was nursing a hip, I think, so that must have been JP Mason. Kenny 49ers in the house. What's up? Anshul saying glad to see Cowing did well in practice today. Yeah, Cowing was great in the game. At one point, he had 4 receptions, so he may have had more than that. I think it was for like 80 or 90 yards. It was a lot. Maybe it's 50 or 60. I don't know, but it was a lot. He had some really nice catches. Fisk was FSU. Rams drafted 2 stud D linemen. Oh, wow. Well, he probably needed to draft 2 to replace Aaron Donald since he was getting triple teamed on the regular. He needs some stout bodies to help take some of the sting out of that. Jason Captain Smash Massey says CJ Stroud. So he's with me on that prediction of being one of the top passing yards guys mid and late season. What else we got here? 4 catches, 51 yards for Cowing. All right, that's what I saw. But there's still time left in the game, so I thought they might have got more.
He did have 1 rush for 19 yards.
There you go. Was that the reverse?
Yep.
Or the jet sweep or whatever it was, yeah.
Defense, dang. Tatum Bethune, man. 9 tackles, 6 solo, 3 assists, right?
I said this offseason regarding both Renardo Green and Tatum Bethune, that I thought drafting from FSU was a real smart move by the 49ers compared to drafting from a team like a lot of teams did from Washington and Michigan, the two teams that were in the Natty. You know, they got extra publicity and, you know, more people wanted their players because Michigan won it and Washington was one win from winning it. And FSU, there's no one can say that FSU shouldn't have won it. They lost their starting quarterback, but then they won at least 2 or 3 games after that. They were undefeated, 13-0 in the season. And they pretty much got bounced from the national championship tournament because they didn't have their starting quarterback. And so I think that devalued some of the players in the draft to where you get better deals. You can get them in later rounds than a comparable player on a Washington or a Michigan that had much more publicity. And so that's why I thought Renardo Green and Tatum Bethune were probably, you know, better than what their round might appear if they had been the ones who had won the national championship per se. Oh, you're on mute, bud.
You know, am I on mute? Can you?
No, just your lips were moving. I didn't hear anything, but
okay. So Cody Schrader, you know, when it comes to running, no, he didn't do that great, but kick returns 2 for 56 yards, 28 yards average.
That's pretty good.
He's pretty good. That seems pretty good.
Seems like that's Debo's job if he wants it, though.
It does.
But you need a back. You need a backup because we all know Debo gets hurt too. So, and probably more and more the older and older he gets.
I'm honestly thinking. This is how Kyle thinks. So running back, we're probably are definitely going to have CMC. If JP Mason ain't RB2, then there's a problem. I'm honestly thinking like that might be why he didn't get any action this next game because he's earned a spot already.
Oh, somebody said he had Jason at 358. He said he was nursing a hip. I think I'm pretty sure that was for JP Mason. So maybe that's why we didn't see him.
Another injury.
I know, to a running back. Right after I was talking about Elijah Mitchell and Breida being injury prone, there's our stud. But I think this is the kind of injury, when you say nursing a hip, it leads me to believe it's the kind of injury where if it was a real game, he would have played. But because it's preseason, they're like, just, err on the side.
Kind of like CMC. That's why he's not in there. He says he can play. But
I don't know, man. Calves are serious, man. I popped mine on June 15th. And it is still not right. So I'm about 9 weeks in on it. I probably went back to riding trails and pump tracks a little too soon. I probably only gave it about 3 weeks on that. And I started riding other stuff pretty much right away. But I've been thinking to myself, when the players get injured on the sideline, what do? They go ride the stationary bike. So like, as long as you're not crashing, I think bike riding is a pretty good way to keep it loose. But we'll see. Hopefully in the next week or two, I can say that I'm 100% on my calf.
Well, and then, so you know where the real controversy is? Hunter. This guy, Presley Harvin III, 46.8 average. And, Mitch is 32 years old. Honestly, don't think Mitch is going anywhere, though. I think it's going to be Aussie all the way. I mean, what do you think, buddy?
Well, are we talking net or gross? If you're talking 46 yards gross, I don't care how far your gross kick is. I care how far the net kick is. And Mitch Wisnowski usually leads the league in net yardage because he kicks it so high and gives the cover team time to get down there and make a play. He also is great at the coffin corner kicks inside the 10. He's incredible. The spin he puts on it and the way he makes the ball spin like a helicopter in where it's really hard to catch. And it also doesn't like bounce into the end zone. It'd be really tough to unseat him, but I think it'd be interesting if there was a punter. One thing I heard about the Harvin guy is that he's very inconsistent. So he'll have some parts where you're thinking, he should be a competition. And then he'll have some stinkers and you're like, oh, no, Mitch doesn't do that.
I'm honestly thinking he's done good enough to catch on with another team. He's not going to be a 49er. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about the quarterback controversy?
I've been saying Dobbs all along, ever since the first.
I don't think there is a controversy. That's why I said that. I mean, you got Brock, you got Dobbs. The third string is more than likely going to be the veteran Brendan Allen.
Yeah.
Although Kyle might just go with Mordecai because if he cuts Allen, no other team's going to.
Whoop. Something happened. I think I'm still alive. So let's go to the comments here while David gets stuff sorted out. Let's see, where are we? Kenny says Anthony Richardson is my guy for this season. Oh, Kenny, I don't know if you saw the reports coming out from the preseason game. AR-15, the other team, and I forget which team it was. I want to say maybe the Packers, was like, oh, don't you do anything but run? And they were pretty derogatory about Anthony Richardson for the Colts. But hey,
that's hilarious. I just got the something went wrong sign.
Yeah, all of a sudden it was weird.
I'm glad
I've had it where your screen, like goes blank, and I'm still there. But this time, my screen took over the whole screen. I was like, oh, I've never seen this before.
It's kind of weird, but anyways, so all right. We talked about QBs, running back, offensive line, wide receivers. I think it's kind of a messy situation. You got Debo, you got Jennings, you got that one guy that for some reason still won't sign the contract.
Yeah.
You got, Ricky Purcell.
Injury red shirt. He's on the verge.
That's what I'm thinking, honestly, right now, is he is 100% going to be an injury red shirt. Jacob Cowing is going to make the roster. He's a rookie. I honestly think he's done enough. So that's 4, right? And then you got number 5. What do you think here?
Chris Conley.
Think Chris Conley?
Absolutely.
I think I don't know if Danny Gray's done enough to make the team. I know Ronnie Bell hasn't been looking very good.
I had Bell above Gray, and Gray is, and Bell is like bubbly. I don't even think Bell's going to make it. But Gray's done. He's, doing autopsy on Gray's Anatomy. He's done. Cooked.
No, so the wide receiver situation is just kind of messy right now. And that's why I'm just kind of looking at it like, I think I'll wait till final cut down. And we'll, maybe Friday we'll see more about that. I think Kyle's going to be playing the guys Friday that, he's going to bring in the starters for a little bit, but then it's going to be the guys he wants to see out there.
Yeah. So, Trent Taylor, I think, is gone too. Somebody said it there. Anshul said it in the comments. I think he's gone. I will give I don't like Trent Taylor. I did, back in the day with him and Jimmy, was it 2016 or 17? 2018. I guess it was 2017. Then Jimmy did his ACL in 2018. But I will give Trent Taylor, I'm not going to say flowers, but I'll give him excuses. There was a pass to him in the end zone in this last game, in the Saints game. And it hit his hands, and the announcer said, oh, you got to catch that if it hit your hands. And a defender had tipped it just a couple yards, maybe 5 at the most, shy of him. And once that happens, your reaction time, the ball changed trajectory and it started to wobble. And if you had your hands in one place and the ball comes in there, it's really hard to make that last second adjustment when it happens right in front of you, which it did. So I'll give Trent Taylor an excuse on that one, at least. Like, I wasn't saying he should have caught that. I was like, I could totally see anytime any receiver has trouble with a deflection at, point blank range, essentially.
Well, one day ago, Steve-O, one day ago. Now, keep in mind, some of these people, might just be saying what they think is going to happen. But one day ago, reported by CBS, not sponsored YouTube, is he is returning to practice. I mean, we'll see what happens, right? But so, like wide receiver is sticky. I'm just going to leave that one alone for a minute. That one guy that, finally gets the Niners to throw in a fourth year, and then he's like, oh, well, I want more money in that. Dude, really? Like, really? It comes a certain point in time where I think it's time to make an example of this wide receiver and trade him to the Steelers just to show all current and future 49ers that, yeah, we want to keep you, but at the same time, we're not going to let you walk all over us.
I'm with you there. I've definitely lost a lot of respect for Brandon Ayuk, who you were trying not to say his name, but I'll go ahead and do it. Yeah, I mean, he's I'm all for getting all of your money, but if you want all the money, go to a non-contender. These contenders aren't going to pay you like that.
If he was all about money, he should have just said, okay, Patriots, I'll go there for $32 million, right?
True. And we would have Matt Judon and Kendrick Bourne back.
Yep.
I would love to have Matt Judon on the other side of Bosa.
Well, let's move to tight ends. I think there's an absolute mess going on behind Kittle. Logan Thomas, the guy we all thought was going to be our number 2 tight end, he's solid. Oh, he's already gone.
He's gone.
And then at this point, I think when it comes to what they look, Braden Willis ain't looking too bad. He's
a good receiver. He just doesn't block well.
And Cameron Latou came out, made a couple good catches yesterday.
He did, and I saw somebody put him in the stock down, and I'm like, how the hell could his stock get any lower? That's my first question. And yeah, he had 2 nice catches. God, if he could just catch and block as well as he's supposed to be able to block, he could be the answer.
Yes, he really could be. And then, I mean, that guy Tonga's, I saw him make a catch or two. I was just looking at all this I was looking at the tight end room like, wow, that's a big old mess they got going on. Normally we keep 4 and we dress 3 on game day, right? And, it's just like, I'm looking at it like, obviously Kittle's number 1. I think Braden Willis is gonna be one of the 3 that we dress. I think Cameron Latou could be, but this guy Eric Sorbet or Saubert, I kind of look. How do you actually say that name? Is it pronounced like the ice cream?
Saubert.
Oh.
But I like sherbet. That's good. That's witty. That's cute. Yeah, Saubert has he's a big dude for starters. He's a big guy. He's a good blocker. If he could catch, he's kind of like, I'd say he's ahead of Latou on the depth chart, but Latou was a 3rd-round draft pick. So all things equal, they're going to protect the guy they invest a lot of draft capital in. If all things are equal or close to it, or they're seeing progress. Like, oh, he's getting better at catching. That leads us to believe that he could continue to improve.
So receiving wise, Cameron Latou actually caught 3 for 30. Braden Willis caught 3 for 24. Tonga's caught 3 for 23. And that was it for the tight ends. Wow.
Yeah, Saubert did his work in the first game.
Yep. And, oh, man. Honestly, I think it's going to be our 2 last year's draft picks, which, that's Latou, Willis. You're going to have Kittle. The 4th guy is probably going to be Saubert. I think Tonga's making a good bid for the team, but we'll see how everything works out. Cameron Latou, he might be the standard 3rd round, pick that gets cut. It's kind of Kyle and John's thing.
Not this year. They're going to give him one more year to see what he can become because of the injury red shirt. So you can't give an evaluation on just one preseason and no real games. I would be shocked if they cut Latu.
I honestly would be too, but at this point, I don't think anything is going to surprise me. That this upcoming Tuesday, right? So defense, I think we should start with the obvious position, and that's the linebackers. You got Fred Warner, Campbell. It looks to me like he is definitely going to be, the second guy, and then the third guy. I'm kind of. I like D. Winters, but I'm kind of going back and forth between him and Curtis Robinson at this point.
Curtis Robinson looked good in this last game, that's for sure. And I think also against the Titans as well.
And well, the thing is we typically keep five linebackers, right?
Don't forget Buddy, DFF.
No, and that's where a big problem comes in.
I mean, let's be honest, he's a real good special teamer too. So it's not just buddy. I mean,
I honestly think DFF will be a practice squad guy. We can cut him. I don't think another team's going to pick him up. But if we cut a guy like Jalen Graham, or a guy like Tatum Bethune, I think another team's going to pick him up.
Possibly. I don't know. They were both like 7th round picks, though, weren't they? So, like, those are the type of guys that typically you can cut and put on practice squad, and they don't get scooped up.
Media is thinking we keep 6, but it just kind of depends on what they're doing with the roster. I've seen us only keep 5 before.
Well, I think the way you do it is you keep 5, and then you start Dre on the PUP. So he's a 6th, but you don't have to decide until he comes back, and by then someone else might be injured. So you maybe you never have to make a decision, right?
And that's possible. It's possible, Anshul. I think he's a perfect practice squad stash, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But now the D line. I thought things were looking kind of obvious when Kalia Davis came out against the Titans and looked pretty good. I thought he was going to be the 4th interior guy we kept. But then he got hurt. So at this point, I look at defensive ends like we have 4 guys that are going to make the team. Bosa, Lloyd, Gross Matos, and Beal Jr. is looking pretty good. So I think those guys are definitely making the team. When it comes to interior, there's only 3 guaranteed right now. You have Hargrave, Elliott, and why am I forgetting Collins, right?
Yes, Malik Collins. Yep,
and that's 7. That's 7. Typically we keep 9 or 10 defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got guys like the 49er veteran Kevin Givens. You got guys like T.Y. McGill. We signed this guy, Nick Williams, the 34-year-old interior guy. That wasn't there. There was a defensive end that was making plays, and I don't think I can pronounce his name.
Barrett?
It's kind of hard to. It wasn't Barrett. Did get a sack and 3 tackles. This is probably the best showing of his 3 or 4 years with us at this point, right?
He's done a lot in camp. He just never seems to translate to the regular season.
Oh, so the guy I'm thinking about, I'm going to say, okay, no, but that's definitely not right. How do you pronounce that guy's name? Jason Captain, help me out here.
Okay, no. Sounds like a.
It's like Okoye and no new or something like that. It's pretty. I'm chopping the guy's name up. I apologize. Okay. But he was in the backfield. He didn't look terrible, but beyond those top 7, it's a guessing game on who's going to make it at this point. I think they're going to keep Kevin Givens because Kalia Davis is hurt. He knows the system, right? So that makes 8. Who's going to be the 9th guy, right?
That's a good question. Maybe they pick somebody else up off the scrap heap when other teams are making cuts.
I mean, they could even keep that undrafted free agent Everett Anderson, go with 5 interior linemen and 4, defensive or edges. They could do that. That's what we did last year, right?
Yeah.
The year before it was opposite, though. We had 5 edges and 4 interior linemen, so that's 9. But yeah, it seems like there's some good position competition going on here, right? Battles, and one of the battles is at defensive back. We know who they're going to be. We have Lenore, we have Chavarius Ward. There's our corners, right? Then it starts to get a little murky. The Yadam has been playing good. He looks good. Bernardo Green's been looking good, right? Luter Jr. made some plays. He hasn't been looking bad. And Womack also made some plays. I mean, what do you think? You think that's going to be our 6 corners?
Don't forget Rock Ya-Sin, too.
Yeah. Yes, this is true. This is where roster decisions get kind of tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if you think about it, Green, we have him for 4 years for cheap. Luter, we have for 3 more seasons for cheap. Womack, we have for 2 more seasons for cheap. That's why I'm kind of look. Green's going to make the roster because he's a 2nd-round pick. Luter Jr. and Womack aren't guaranteed, but I think because we have them for multiple years for on the cheap, I think they're going to stick around. I kind of feel like Renardo Green is. It's between him and Yadam on who's going to be the guy that rotates in, but when it's time for a nickel. I could see us doing what we did last year, put Lenore at nickel and play one of those guys on the outside because they're pretty good on the outside.
Yeah, Yadam is very long. He's slender, not real wide, but he has real long arms and legs. And, last I heard he was CB3. But that was before we saw Renardo Green, doing what he's been doing in the preseason. So maybe Renardo has leapfrogged him. It's possible.
Well, I think safety's painfully obvious. We have Huff is on his way back. If he's going to make it week 1, I don't know. We have Huff. We have Jair Brown, right? We have Mustafa and Odom. I think that's it. Safety's pretty much set. So, I mean, yes, Papa J, I have a severe problem pronouncing that young man's name. Like I said, I apologize to him. Sorry I hacked your name up. How do you say that, Ted?
I would say Okuya Nonu. Yeah, it's a tough one.
I think no. Good name for defensive end.
Just when you say no, it sounds like bad date experience. Date gone wrong. What else we got? So yeah, I mean, I think corner's a huge battle. That might be the biggest on the team.
Kenny, I don't think he's going to be the same player until the last half of the season. But, I mean, look at what happened to our run defense after he went out. This is something a lot of people are like, ooh, it's Eric Armstead, is it? Because when Huff went down, all of a sudden our run defense was struggling. The guy cleans up people's messes. He's there right after the missed tackle to tackle him.
Wasn't Armstead hurt too, though, with the plantar fasciitis?
I think that happened at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's a double whammy.
And, Huff does, though. He cleaned up a lot of people's messes. Like, that missed tackle, Well, normally he's right there to clean it up. The guy only got 1 extra yard, not 5 or 6, right? So when Huff went down, it was a serious loss. But having him next to Jair Brown, who's looking pretty good, we could have one of the better safety tandems in the league. I can't say the best until, towards the end of the season. But, I'm saving it.
I could see it. Yeah, I don't think it's hyperbole or Homer-ish. Makes sense. Especially if Malik Mustafa keeps shining the way he is. Could have 3 of the top safeties.
Ooh. Didn't Aziz sign with Houston?
Last year, but I think he was a free agent this year.
Well, last year, he was with the Titans last year.
Oh, I see. Yeah, maybe.
I'm going to look this up because I think
he was gone. He went. You're right, with Rand Carthon and the Titans.
Ooh, football player. Houston Texans. D'Amico's got his guy.
Yeah, he's solid.
Oh boy. Oh, Don Dotson in the building. What's going on? Good evening.
Saying hi to Levi.
Yep, Levi's in the building. We actually did a game night on his channel Friday. If you want to see something funny, you should watch it. It's long, but it has some very funny moments in it. So at this point, is there any other subjects you want to cover?
Just Trent and Ayuk. Got to get those guys signed here pretty quick. We're starting to run out of time. Everybody's like, I don't know, there's some video where like, oh, I just talked to Trent and he's working out in the gym, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I commented and I said, there is no gym that replicates reps across from Bosa. So we got to get him some of those to get him ready for the season.
And Bosa needs the reps too. It'd be nice if they signed him by the weekend. We'll see what happens.
Sure would.
But just one of those things. Like, you offer a guy a 4th year on his extension, and all of a sudden he's like, well, no, I got you offering the 4th year. I want more money in that 4th. Dude, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah. Sign the deal, Brandon. Sign the deal.
Yeah. But at the same time, I would have said, all right, I've had enough of that. Hey, Mike Tomlin, like you want your cousin?
Doppelganger.
Yeah. I've been saying if Brandon Ayuk cuts his hair and dresses up just like him on the sideline, the people with the cameras might just mistake him. They really might.
That was the story from early in the offseason, was that people thought they looked a lot alike. Oh, it's so cliche. So
it is. And Darwin, that's right. Football shape is different. Right now, 2 guys that are going to be getting a lot of reps haven't been doing football activities. That could be an issue. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's John Jay. What's up, buddy? Yeah, he's actually so Bryant, we haven't seen a lot of him. The guy's working hard 7 days a week right now, folks. When it calms down, I will do a show with him at some point. I don't know when. I'm just waiting to hear from him. Oh, it's that time. I'm getting that notification about East Coast Red and Gold in 30 minutes, buddy.
There we go. Big stuff.
Here we go. All right.
I wonder what Bryant thought of Jake Moody's missed field goal Sunday night.
Ooh, now how long was that field goal? Was it a 50+?
I know it was pretty long. I had the volume down because my nearly 1-year-old son was sleeping not too far from the TV, and so I had to do it on no volume at that point.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Most of the TV announcers suck, so I don't really listen to them anyway.
It looked pretty long. I would say it was at least 45, if not 50. But the TV wasn't real big either. So
Yep. Hey, preseason's the time to miss them.
this is true. Get it out of your system, Jake. Other than that, I don't have anything earth shaking to add. I think we covered most everything.
Yep, we did. You know, we won the last preseason game. This is a victory Wednesday. So everybody have a fantastic day. The game's Friday, folks, Friday evening. So we'll have to see. Hopefully that's nationally televised and everybody can watch it, right?
There you go. Yeah. Hopefully it will be for everybody. Because I know some people have been having troubles with NFL Plus getting the games live. Friday afternoon. What?
Who do you got?
Anshul and I are going to start a weekly show for Intermedia and I. Fridays, I don't think we've decided if it's 3:30 or 4 every Friday afternoon. So that should happen this Friday. If not this Friday, then even next Friday is a little dicey too because we might be out of town. But it'll be happening soon. If not this Friday, within a couple Fridays, we'll get it going.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I think Friday should work because this is my son's usually napping this time of day, so it's a time where I can usually stream.
Sweet. But I have problems with NFL Plus, and I uninstalled the app, reinstalled it, and on my phone I was able to get into my account and recover everything. My tablet, it's still doing the same thing.
Wow.
So
that's frustrating.
It is. I mean, at least I can get it on my phone and rewatch them. I'd rather see it on my tablet because it's a little bigger screen, you know?
I hear you.
I'll figure it out. I'm trying to find a phone number to call and complain, folks. If I ever find it, I will tell everybody live on YouTube what it is.
Do it. Hold their feet to the fire.
That's right. All right, folks. Everybody have a fantastic night. We will see you next Wednesday. As Corey Davis says, go 49ers and F all 31 other teams.
Peace. Go Niners.